So what do you want to do? You want to be anonymous or?
Yeah.
So I told you about Washington already or no?
Somewhat.
I could tell you kind of the details, a few details that are kind of interesting.
Like what?
So I was in Washington for January 20th, right? The inauguration day. And trying to document the protest. And it was super cold for sure. So it was kind of hard to do what we were doing, but we did it. We interviewed like over 10 people. I told you about the Luigi girl dressed like Luigi.
And it's not a lot, but I would think you guys would have done more.
Well, I mean, depends on who wants to talk. I mean, we were there for 3 hours and consistently asking people if they want to, interview. It wasn't just 10, I think it was like 14, 15.
Yeah, sure.
But we're looking for people like various looks, reading the signs, seeing what they're about, trying to get different viewpoints, right?
I
So
saw
obviously,
I watched them.
yeah. And we interviewed this guy. There was this big what do you call those things that they use in the French Revolution? The
Guillotine?
yeah, the guillotine.
Guillotine?
Yeah, yeah. There was somebody with this giant, you know, guillotine,
Crazy.
and they were carting that around. And so we interviewed this masked guy that was pulling that, and it was interesting because he was like soft spoken,
Yeah.
um, and he was just saying like, yeah, I mean, I feel like we need a revolution, and these people can't keep getting away with it, and I couldn't really hear him that well because I was the one behind the camera and it was loud, but we also interviewed this lady she was from Trinidad and Tobago, and she had, I think you saw the clip, but she had this big sign. I think it was like pro Luigi also, and she was saying that like that day she was supposed to go back to her country. Like she had bought a plane ticket and everything, but uh, either something fell through and she didn't end up going. Then she decided, well, I mean, I'm still here. Let me go to the protest. But she was pretty powerful. She was saying how like they want to kick all of us out from the shithole countries. I'm from one of those shithole countries that he talks about, and I'm lucky because I'll go willingly. Like I already want to go to my country, but a lot of people here that are advocating for themselves or for their people. I mean, they came here, just trying to provide for their families, do things right. They follow the rules, they pay taxes and everything, and they're being scapegoated, and they're being trying to be thrown out. They're being thrown out, and all of this, and I mean it's horrible. Over there, we watched the Dear Kelly movie by Channel 5 by Andrew. Have you checked that out yet, or not really?
No, I haven't. I watched your guys' interview with him, but I did not watch the movie.
It's a good movie. So we watched it all as a group and talked about it, and it was like I didn't know it was gonna be that good. I mean, it follows obviously that Kelly guy,
Yeah.
the Trump guy, but it's like an in-depth analysis on Kelly,
Interesting.
and you see like his origin story. Like he was just a dude. He was just a dude, middle class, and because of the 2008 foreclosure crisis, he lost his house, and it wasn't. I mean, it was that, and also he kind of wasn't great with his money and stuff, and he didn't take personal accountability, and that led to his downfall within his family,
Right.
and led to him becoming radicalized, and all that.
I'll watch it at some point.
What else have we done? We did well, I'm editing a podcast now that's very interesting. I didn't do the interview, but my friend Savion did from the People Podium. He got this guy who runs this organization that helps the homeless, right? It's a nonprofit here in Miami called M Care, and the guy's name is David Perry, and like he was himself homeless for 10 years,
Uh-huh.
from 2008 to 2018. Also, you know, you know, he also lost his home because of the 2008 foreclosure crisis,
Yeah.
and and so he has a first time account, so he obviously feels it himself, and he's still struggling, but he's still wanting to do good with his organization.
Hmm. Sounds like you guys could do some good stuff together.
Yeah, yeah, we're trying. But yeah, I mean, Dave Perry was saying some crazy things. I mean, that I've heard before, but like he knows the issue, so he was like saying how, like, here in Miami, yeah, we do have a homeless crisis just like every major city, and the city's not helping at all. In fact, that they're passing laws that are hurting the homeless. Like last year in April, DeSantis signed into law this law that allows. It's basically like the how obviously people can't sleep on private property, right? So they end up sleeping on public property, right? Because those are the only two types of property there are. And and what this law does is allow private citizens to call in these homeless people that they see sleeping on private property, and it's basically a tip line. It's like allows them to do that.
Uh-huh.
and
Private
and so
property, right?
both. I mean, so it's kind of like, where are these people supposed to sleep?
I've heard about it. I mean, I've heard about it in other states, like people, well, I guess laws being passed that's like, uh, I don't know, it's been a while since I heard that, but maybe about just homeless people getting arrested for essentially just being in public and like trying to live,
Mm,
which is really ridiculous.
yeah.
Apparently something similar is going on here in New Orleans, like because the Super Bowl is happening, I heard something like
Oh yeah. Every time there's a big event like that, they start herding people away from the city. They
exact,
did that in Paris for
which
the
is
for the for
weird. Like,
the for the Olympics. They did that in Paris.
I mean, that's just so weird. It's like
Yeah.
they're trying to hide the truth.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, they want to sugarcoat everything. They don't want to deal with the problem.
Think about it this way, like the people that can, I don't even think it has anything to do with sugarcoating, and actually, I take it back. I don't think it has to do with hiding the truth. Well, in a literal sense, yeah, it does, because you're literally just getting them out of view. It's almost as if they're like they just don't want people to see homeless people. Because of course, anyone that has the money to travel and go to some major event like this and pay for housing and whatever, they understand money and they also understand what I'm not gonna say they understand what it's like to not have money, but they understand that there are people that don't have it. Like I'm sure they've seen a homeless person. Um, but for some reason, somebody in power said, "Oh, well, we have people coming here that have money and influence. We don't want them to have to look at homeless people because why? That's the question. Because why? I mean, I look
Well,
at it doesn't make my day any worse.
no, yeah. I mean, I think that the mentality and the viewpoint is that you know I mean, they don't. I mean, it's horrible to say, but they don't see these people as people, you know?
Yeah, I can tell. It's like treating them like a bug or something.
Yeah. It's for a purpose. Like, I mean, it costs more for the government to, let's say, put a homeless person in jail than it does to house that person. You know.
R- Right.
So why don't they just house the people? Well, there's a reason why. It's because, and this is something that David Perry said. He said that if you just house people and get rid of the scarcity of housing, then that lowers the rents. That lowers the rents by themselves. The developers, the people in real estate are constantly lobbying every single government to not do that. Constantly lobbying every government to you know tamp down on homelessness in all which ways except giving them homes, which is the only way to solve the homelessness problem is to give people homes.
But you're
or to
saying
help
by
get people home.
you're saying that by giving people housing, it's gonna lower the price of other people's housing?
The only reason that developers or real estate people can set their prices at a high is because of scarcity. Somebody is going to, pay that $2,500 a month, one bedroom, one bath, because that's the only one bedroom, one bath in their area that's close to their job. And they're going to have to. And they might go into debt, but they'll do it because that's the only thing available. But if there's a cheaper option somewhere close that is, publicly funded by the government, they'll go with that route every time. And and that private apartment is going to be forced to lower their prices because of that,
To attract
Why?
somebody.
to attract another person that they can get some money from.
I mean, maybe, but at a certain level, like at least as far as quality, let's say, like there's still gonna be people that want to pay, maybe not want to pay more, but that will pay at a certain price point to have a certain luxury, which is, two bathrooms or three rooms or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, they will. Yeah.
I mean, common sense to me says that like giving homeless people homes shouldn't affect the real estate market. I mean, now that being said, like I don't know, it just implies that there's gonna be some other system in place. Like, okay, how do you verify that they're homeless? Like, why do we give them a home? How do I know it's not someone that can afford their own housing and is just taking advantage of the system?
Well, there has to be an application and verification process, of course.
Exactly. And of course that takes time and energy and blah blah blah. But like in theory, that shouldn't even be something that is like accounted for like that should just be out of the good of someone's heart. I mean, it probably shouldn't be a private citizen. Like there shouldn't I don't know, there's too
No,
many
yeah, it wouldn't be a private.
It wouldn't be, let's say, like a private real estate group, right? Somebody that owns an apartment, right? It wouldn't be them
if they
That
want to, why
that's
not?
that's offering the. Oh yeah, if they want to, great. I mean, people should be doing that, but they don't do that because they get into it
to
to
make
make
That's
money.
money.
kind of understandable, but I'm saying there are people out there that are just straight up, they don't work for the government, they're just an entrepreneur that got stupid rich that could probably afford to just give away a building, if not has the money to just build a building. Those people, if they were nice enough, they could do that. But also we have governments that like their whole shtick is that they're supposed to be taking care of people, and that I mean I don't even think that's a thing anymore. It's crazy because you have actual members of the government that are basically speaking negatively of the government and like actively criticizing it. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that kind of says that like the cat's out of the bag. I think the cat's been out of the bag, but like
It's very explicit now.
yeah, and I don't know it for a fact because I don't care and I don't really keep up with this stuff, but I feel like some years ago, maybe probably when our parents were born or sometime around then, that was probably like the end of this facade. Like I feel like there was a facade up until there wasn't. I mean, maybe it was like the 60s or maybe before that where the government was like, no, we're all about the people. This is a country for the people. We're all about
Mm.
taking care of people. And then there came a day where it just wasn't that anymore. And since then, it's just been downhill.
It's always been for certain people, you know?
What, the government?
Yeah, it's always been for to help out a certain group of people.
You
In
don't
the
think there's any
60s,
point where it was like,
Yeah, but think about when you say the '60s. You know who was being helped, who was prospering in the '60s
I don't know,
in America.
probably
because the
white
civil,
people.
Yeah, it's a lot of white people, and it's a lot of middle class to upper class white people, and even the poor whites didn't get help. I mean, in the '60s, that's the thing. In the '60s, because it was like only 2 and 3 decades after like the Social Security came into effect, and people can actually retire, and Medicare and Medicaid and all these New Deal programs came into effect. Poor people did have these these systems, right? And there was the GI Bill and all this type of stuff. So there were things that can help people, and they thought, yeah, the government actually does some things.
Uh-huh.
but
But you know, ever since people like historians like to point to like Reagan, like Reagan was the turning point,
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that.
because Reagan like was explicitly like in the pocket of big business, and he you know kind of reversed a lot of those New Deal policies and set into motion this uh, this plan that honestly is culminating here with Trump.
What do you mean it's culminating with him?
I mean, the plan has always been to, you know, destroy those New Deal policies, as in defund Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, um, get rid of as many regulations as you can get rid of, to allow companies to rule everything. Let companies be the rulers of America.
You think that's always been the plan?
That's always been the plan.
Why?
I mean, why does a CEO want to be a billionaire and a trillionaire and keep going, keep accumulating, keep accumulating? Why do they want to do that?
Obsession, I guess.
It's an obsession. It's greed. It's a psychopathy.
Yeah, probably.
Most definitely.
It's such an interesting concept. I mean, I think it's very difficult to grasp because we're not nearly in that situation. But if you had $1 billion, how much of it do you think you'd give away? You know?
You give it to me tomorrow?
Huh? Yeah. Why not? You can have it right now. I mean,
Not right now is right now. I probably give it away because we're having this conversation. But tomorrow, I wake up and I'm very excited knowing that I got $1 billion in the bank. I don't know because that money does corrupt.
here's the thing.
but
Uh, I feel like when people say give away and like help and whatnot, I've heard defenses of this kind of thing, like, well, when you're that rich, you can't just give money away because the charities and whatnot, they're gonna keep a large percentage of it, and there's all this stuff. And that's understandable, but my thing is like, why don't you pay someone or even be so kind as to take some time out of your own life to make sure it gets to where it needs to go, you know?
Mm-hmm.
How hard can that be? Like this is about resources. If
Yeah.
it's I don't know, pay someone to look into it and get with the person that can actually make the changes. Like how hard can that be?
Yeah.
So I think that's what I would do if I had all that money, like get with my own construction company and whether it's like build housing for some people that need it or let's get food to people that need whatever like that I feel like that could all be relatively easy.
Yeah, that would be a good idea to do. And yeah, I would like to think that I would do something like that too. But the thing is that, let's say for instance, a Zuckerberg said, "You know what? I'm turning the tide." He got hit on the head really hard, right? And the
Sure.
psychopathy got knocked out of him.
Right.
And he decided, you know what? I'm gonna give all this money towards, fighting cancer and ending homelessness in my city and all this type of stuff. There are systems in place that would discourage it, would work behind the scenes to fight back against it. And the charity system in itself is 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 a racket sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, there's. I'm not saying that there's not charities that do great things. I'm glad that there's charities out there that are helping people, but still, there's there's better ways to do it. Like you said, yeah, it should be it should be personal, and it's also, if you're tapped into such a big amount of money, the best thing to do is to start certain systems. You know, start some systems that will be long standing
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes
to help
solid
people.
sense. But that being said, I think maybe you've heard this before and it's probably just a theory. It could even be like a conspiracy. But
Mm-hmm.
like if you have so many people in the world that have all these resources that like theoretically can do a crazy amount of good and
Mm-hmm.
none of them are doing it, like they're essentially just hoarding their wealth,
Mm-hmm.
it might be saying that they know something that we don't. Like maybe they're not helping because they just don't think it's not gonna be worth it if we all explode or something, you know?
Well, let's stay on that. They most definitely have said it and think it, that it's not worth it. But they think that it's not worth it because they see poor people, for the most part, as flawed beings, as people that if you give them money in a few years or a few months or in a few days, it's gonna be gone, and they're gonna be in the same situation that they were in, and that this we live in a world where it, you know you gotta, everybody for themselves, and if you have the opportunity to take somebody's lunch money, take it, you know. And okay, yeah, if we want to do a survival of the fittest thing, and every man for himself thing, then let's do it. Zuckerberg will be killed in a day, and all these dudes will be killed in a day, because the masses, there's more people than them. The billionaires are very small, little, tiny percentage of the people that exist.
Yeah.
They rely on these systems. They rely on these big populations to prop them up. So that they're speaking to two sides of their mouth a lot of the time.
I hear you. I hear you. And a lot of them, I guess they try to act like a normal person. And I mean, in some sense they are. Like I've been around some people that were probably rich. And obviously it's all relative. Like what's a millionaire to a billionaire? But I mean, what's a billionaire to a 10,000-aire or a nothing air? So,
Mm,
and they're just normal people. They're just normal people that are probably smart and good at what they do or whatever, but it is a great power. I mean, as someone that doesn't have a lot but has a little bit, it still feels a little bit heavy sometimes. Like, man, I got something that could change the life of people, and it's not doing much for me. It's not doing much for anybody, really. That being said, the whole concept I think is flawed. Like, you put, what am I trying to say? Like, this money thing, of course, it's just like a form of it's currency. It's a means of exchange of goods and services and whatnot. But it's conceptual and it's like I don't know. I don't know. Like who's to say what's right or wrong? I don't even know how long humans have been doing that as far as like basically money. I mean, I think it's probably less than I don't know. I'm sure it's like some thousands of years old as far as like bills and coins and whatnot,
Yeah,
which is kind of crazy to think about, but essentially at
but
some point some
yeah,
imaginary system was invented. Like somebody said basically, well, now it doesn't matter anymore how much of an actual physical thing you can give me or like how much service you can do for me. I'm just gonna give you this piece of paper, this piece of metal, and it says that I owe you such and such amount of physical goods. And we've
hmm
taken that so far to where now you don't even need the physical things anymore. I mean, you don't need the coins. You have people paying fake money for fake money, which at some point turns into more fake money, which at some point you could turn into real money and then use it to buy real things. And that's all a little bit confusing. And I mean, it's no wonder why like the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, because like it's a game. And I mean, if you're not good at the game, you're gonna lose the game.
let me tell you something that I've been thinking about based on all of this, right?
Yep.
I think that I think that we've set in motion things that are gonna cause some sort of collapse, right? And it's gonna be horrible, and it's gonna be tragic, and it's gonna be, there's gonna be a lot of people that, they're not gonna survive it. But I think that the only way that the race can survive, and the way that we should be moving, is a more degrowth, is focus on degrowth, right? We've been focused on growth this whole time. Expanding our numbers, expanding our supply of resources, expanding our development, and all this type of stuff. And it hasn't led us to a nice place. It's led us to a collapse. So I think that we need a degrowth. I think that how that looks, let's say in the modern sense, in a city. I'll give you an example. Cars, forget about them. Let's get rid of them. Trains, buses, boats, very efficient, less burning of the fossil fuels, can be powered with renewables. Uh,
I don't know about that one though.
a boat you can literally hand steer. If you want a big boat, we can go back to those. You know,
Steer cars. Why? Why?
well, I'm saying like with oars or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
Like
What does
like you're
that matter?
saying. So I'm saying like let's say a Venice. That's
Yeah.
how they get around in gondolas.
But if the cities are built based on the idea of cars, you're not just gonna open up canals in the city. Like that's not gonna work.
For certain cities, it could work. Miami is gonna work because the ocean levels is rising over there.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to make our cities walkable again, bikeable again. You know, this is a relatively new thing that there's this huge road system. You know,
I mean, I think what you're saying makes sense, and I think
that's an example.
that
of what we're
needs
talking
that
about.
could happen, and maybe it should happen on like a national scale. But on an individual scale, I think there's like a massive just overconsumption issue. Probably in the world. I wouldn't say just this country. I mean, I'm sure it's exaggerated in this country. In fact, I see it
Yeah.
very often. Like I had a job 2 days ago helping this girl move, and the amount of clothes she had, like I said, she must have 10 times my clothes. No, I said something like I think if she got rid of 75% of her clothes, she'd have 10 times as much clothes as I do. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
just next level. Like,
Yeah,
and
that's incentivized here. Yeah.
well, without saying anything judgmental there, it's just like, how can you be happy in that position? I mean, to me, that's like a massive distraction. Like, I would constantly be thinking, like, let's say you're into it. I mean, clearly she's into it. Why else would she have so much clothes? I probably would be thinking something like, well, what am I gonna wear? Oh, I have so many clothes, but I don't know what I want to wear.
Mm-hmm.
And either that or, oh my God, I have so much clothes. I hate my life or something like that, you know? Meanwhile, like, I mean, I'm kind of in the opposite boat. Like, I have not many clothes. I actively get rid of clothes and I just don't think about it. Like, I just grab a pair of clothes and I'm like, all right, this is what I'm wearing today. And
Oh
that
yeah.
feels pretty good. I like how that feels. But it's not only that, it's not just the clothes. I mean, I go to people's houses and they just have so much stuff, just stuff, period.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's just a little bit upsetting. Like, I'm not
Um,
even in their position. I'm kind of in the opposite position. I'm like somewhat of a minimalist and whatnot. But when I'm moving their stuff, I'm like, you wouldn't even need to hire me if you didn't have this much stuff. And also, I would wager to say, if you didn't have this much stuff, you'd be in better shape. You'd probably take better care of yourself, and you'd come to better decisions. And it's not to say it's a bad decision to call me because I don't think it is, but a lot of the people that hire me might be of a certain type, and it's just like lazy generally, I would say, and that's fine. I mean, I wouldn't have a job if they weren't lazy. But what's funny is a lot of these people will also like complain and then be like, "Oh, I'm so out of shape," or this same one that I was talking about with the clothes and stuff. It was kind of annoying. Like she kept apologizing the whole time that we were working. Not, every 2 seconds, but like at least every few minutes. And I just kind of ignored it. But I was just thinking to myself, like, I mean, what are you sorry for? Like, you're the one that put yourself in this situation. Of course, you're acting as if I'm having a bad time. Meanwhile, I haven't complained. I haven't said anything. I'm just working.
mm-hmm.
But it's almost like a guilt for being who they are. I mean, that's kind of how I
Well,
see it.
Well, but we gotta remember too that like there is such thing as like an addiction to buying things. I forget what the term is, but like
Yeah,
retail. Well, people have retail therapy, and then there's retail, addiction,
yeah, for sure, for sure.
and
That's
that
like the
may.
worst. I mean, it's not the worst because, it's not hard drugs, but like it
No,
hurts your bank.
yeah.
And I
Yeah, it
mean,
hurts your bank account, of course.
at the end of the day, that's what you use to survive. So, like, in some way, you are kind of killing yourself.
yeah, yeah, and is also using up a lot of time too. But I rather talk about the culture of it because it's like, okay, that is American culture. American culture now for over 100 years now is consume, consume, consume. Because in this country, companies run the game. And obviously they want you to consume, consume, consume. That's how they make their money. That's how they build their empires. And so everybody is propagandized in their head with the advertisements from an early age, to, you're not a person, you're not an it girl, you're not a one of the dudes if you don't have a jersey. You're not, you gotta have something. You gotta have a cultural signifier. You have to have, and I'm not trying to get on the cultural signifiers. I mean, I have plenty of heat gear, but I'm just saying, like, that's part of the culture, and that's part of what I mean about degrowth, is that if we're gonna save ourselves, degrowth has to also mean like incentivizing more minimalism, more, conscious consumption.
Here's the
Very
thing,
conscious consumption.
that kind of thing, I think that's a very individual journey. I mean, I think we're both on our own version of said journey. Um, I know I am. And like through, I don't know, you keep calling it degrowth. I think that's a really weird word, but I would just call it minimalism. Like through minimalism, it's insane how the world opens up. I mean, it's very simple. Less stuff equals less to think about, which equals more free time, which to me equals like chase your passion. And of course, that implies a bunch of other stuff that's like, well, you have time to even think about that kind of stuff because you're not working, or you have a schedule where you can, like, you don't have to work to just survive, because of course there's plenty of people that are just doing that. But even those people somehow find time for some bullshit stuff, whether it's like video games or drugs, or like the retail therapy stuff. And this is where it starts, my mind kind of starts getting towards that, like, I don't even know. I'm not gonna self-label, but this is somewhat of like a capitalistic mindset, or uh it's something that you kind of, it relates to something you said earlier about rich people, but my mindset is like, if you're someone that's in a really bad situation, be it financial, be it health, whatever, unless it's like a mental health issue and it's something that you can't control, you should be using any free time you have to free yourself of that situation. I mean, that's just kind of common sense. And maybe it's not. I mean, maybe it's not common sense, especially like with what you said. Like our country is kind of, you're kind of raised a certain way from birth, like consume, 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 and don't worry about anything else. And if you do have any worries, consume something else to get rid of that overconsumption issue. I mean, that's quite literally what, like, uh what is it? This really popular fat loss thing that's happening right now.
Oh yeah,
I forget what it's called, but
yeah, me too.
that kind of thing. Or like buy this program, or no, buy this supplement, and just buy this, buy that. I think so many things can be fixed internally, and it's like once you
It,
recognize that, I think you're free essentially. I mean,
yeah,
given the reality.
I get what you're saying, and that's possible. Of course, people can figure things out for themselves and change their lives. That's possible, and people do it. Some people don't, some people do. But why I want to steer it more towards the cultural and the big picture is because that's kind of the recipe that they tell us is the way to fix it on the individual level. Let's fix it on the individual level. Every man for themselves. If you feel like you're stuck in a situation, figure it out. Pull yourselves up by your bootstraps and figure it out. You already have the resources. They assume you have the resources, they assume you have the capabilities, and they assume you have, you know, the vision. Like I mean,
And I'm
Las
not,
ganas.
and 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 I'm not saying that it's like, there's no such thing as personal responsibility. I think that there is. People, like I was telling you before with the whole Kelly thing. You know, he didn't take personal responsibility for what he contributed to the losing of his house, and he didn't take personal responsibility for being there for his kids' graduations and all this type of stuff, and that's why he got estranged from his family. That's the personal responsibility. But the system part is very important too, because, for instance, public education. Public education can be so much better than it is. It can set people up for success instead of just being a cog in this production machine, right? We can be set up in a way where we learn about health every year. We can be set up in a way through education to learn about financial literacy from an early age, because we know, because of statistics, that a lot of people drop out at certain ages and join the workforce. So get those lessons in early.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we know through science and statistics that if you feed kids healthy meals, at least two, they're going to learn better, they're going to retain more, they're going to be able to complete the homework better, they're going to, be healthier, happier people. Those three things, and you can do a whole bunch more. That's a system thing.
Yeah.
That's a system thing, and that's where we're dropping the ball. Like, I mean, the personal responsibility is important, but it's just one of the aspects, and it shouldn't be like the sole focus, because then we're never gonna fix our systems. I mean, the biggest thing for me is like, do we want to be in a society or not? Like, if we want to be in a society, then okay, let's do the things that it takes to be in a society, which means setting up systems that help us all, right? Because if we don't have that, then what's the point of being in a society? Let's just do everything for ourselves.
Well, I think that's what I'm getting at. I mean, my mindset is that I was born into something that I didn't ask to be born into. Uh, and I've recognized that it's really not doing anything for my good. So I should operate within the system with the resources that I can for my own personal betterment. And ideally those of like the people I care about too. And that's a privilege to be able to do that. You know, you have to be born into a certain situation or demographic just to be able to be do that. Just to be able to even do that. Um, and yeah, that's it. I mean, it's playing the individualism game, but my thing is like you can only talk about it so much. And I mean you could do stuff, you could be about it too, but like, to what avail? Like all these protests and all this political or civil unrest, like what does it mean? To the people in charge, probably nothing. I don't think they're scared. I think they might be a little bit concerned, but what are they gonna do in return? Up the security, personal security, and then also like maybe national security.
The police state.
And what else? I mean, what else? Like that's it. Literally, I think the only
I mean, it's only that.
go ahead,
to
finish.
a revolution that there is violence. Like they're protecting themselves from violence because they know that's pretty much the last frontier. Because you could do this internet stuff all day. We could have a podcast. We could have a podcast today and 1 billion people could see it. 2 billion, maybe 3 billion people could see it. Does not matter. Every person on Earth could see it, and then they could watch it twice, and nothing changes. Because like words and thoughts and concepts are all meaningless to a system that's. I mean, you even said it yourself. Like it's all been culminating into what it is today. It's been stewing and brewing and building up into what it is now. So it's like a giant monster. And
Mm-hmm.
unless you're ready to kill the monster, it's just gonna keep taking these little hits. These aren't even hits. These are just like little taps. That's how I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
No, yeah, yeah.
My
It's
thing
a
is, I'm
very
not even
big.
gonna fight it. I'm just gonna live under it. I'm just gonna live under it and just kind of glide and just pretend it's not.
Yeah, but no. It's less fun that way. Number
Not
one.
really. I'm chilling. I'm about to leave the country, and then I
Well,
can
I
come
mean,
back too.
well, okay. Is it could be fun either way, but I'm not, number one. This podcast is not to try to solve the world's problems. Okay, it's just to to talk and to explore ideas and to you know learn with one another. You know, that's it. We're not trying to solve the world's problems here.
Hmm.
And but I feel like you mentioning that the like it's all for naught. There's this is a big monster and we can't. It's too hard to kill it. Is one of its own self defense mechanisms.
What do
You
you
know,
mean?
they the system wants to project this all powerful, unbeatable stature,
Hmm.
but if you really assess it, you really study it, you see that it's all propped up by us individuals, the masses.
How so?
Let's give you a few examples. Let's talk about the police, the military, and the individuals that run the government. That's all people. Those are all people. If Trump gave the order tomorrow for the military to start going into cities and shooting up people, shooting immigrants, taking people by force, killing people, all this type of stuff. There will be some that do it, and there will be some that defect, because some people have hearts, and some people have hearts, but they're so propagandized and buy into the to being a sheep that they'll do it. They'll follow orders, but
Yeah.
some will defect. And and if you hear the same with the police, the same thing would happen with the police. The thing is that both of those are not are also scary examples because they've been trained in the art of war. They've been trained in the art of divide and conquer and subjugation and controlling the masses. So they're trained to do that.
Who is?
The police and the military.
Gotcha.
So yeah, they might follow orders, but at the end of the day, if a police officer is a Latino police officer and they're told to go to their own home and deport their own family, they're not gonna do it.
To
At
go
the
where?
To go deport their own family,
Oh, I mean, yeah, ideally not.
they might not do it because now we're living in scary times where like people are being estranged from their family, falling into cult-like mentalities, and you see that in the Kelly movie too. Like this man chose Trump life over his own loving family. He got 3 kids and a wife, and he chose Trump over them.
In what sense?
In the sense that he rather go around the country and a beat up BMW, not get a job, and rather go to all these protests and go to Planned Parenthood and berate people and do all this instead of getting a job and providing for his kids and working on his relationship with his wife.
I mean, that's the choice that he made.
That's the choice that he made. So we're living in scary times because people are being caught up in these cults. But
I mean, and also people are like, yeah, what you said, cults, but schools of thought, I mean, opinions, like I think if you're so strongly opinionated about anything that it would drive you away from like your family and your friends that disagree with your opinion, that you should really reconsider that, you know? And if you even agree with that opinion still, like just don't mention it. I mean, what opinion is strong enough to the where it would drive you away from your family? I mean I could probably come up with some, whether it's like some abortion stuff or some racist stuff, but like it is just words. Until it's been proven, I feel like it just doesn't make a difference. I mean, you could tell me you're like pro-abortion. You could tell me like, you know, I don't know, you could say a lot of crazy things, and it's like until you actually do it, it is just talk. I mean, it would be concerning, but given I guess context is very important too, because if somebody has always been crazy and they've always said crazy stuff, or not even, if they've just always said crazy stuff, because what does it mean to be crazy? I mean, I'm crazy. People have called me crazy, whatever. I've called myself crazy. I'm pretty normal. I do normal stuff, and I want to keep doing normal stuff. Every once in a while, you do a little crazy something, but it's like relative. Crazy to somebody else, not that crazy to me. But real
Mm-hmm.
crazy is like scary because they're gonna hurt somebody. That's real crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I guess there's a fine line because you could say a lot of crazy stuff, but until you do something crazy, that's when you should actually be considered crazy. And what I'm getting at with that is like with the whole opinions thing, I don't think it should be enough to drive people apart. I mean, I think people can believe in what they want to believe, and it shouldn't change their relationships.
I agree. I agree. Why? Let me go back to the movie because it's just a good thing to stick with a topic during a podcast, right? And it applies to what you're saying. You said, you know, you shouldn't let things drive people apart. Restate it really quick.
Well, I just said that, like, I don't think any personal opinions should, you know, drive apart relationships, like personal relationships,
Mm-hmm.
family or friends or whatever.
Yeah. And
This is one of the questions that I asked Andrew, right? I asked him basically like why do you think Kelly was a good, subject? Because most people who are left of center, which is most people, right? Most people are just normies. They're not political, and they see a guy like that that's super political and super agitative, that they're like, that guy's a turnoff. I don't want to even see him. I don't want to even think about his existence. I don't want to, really consider him.
Yeah.
But Andrew took the time to do a whole movie on this guy, and I think it was worthwhile because it is important to not shut people out for their opinions, even if they're crazy,
because
because people are redeemable. People have redeeming qualities. Everybody's worth something, and even that guy. Through the movie, you see he's got a son that still loves him. His daughter still loves him, even after everything. And And those are the redeeming qualities. He loves them back. He just doesn't know how to express it anymore.
Yeah.
But and we, you know, everybody has experiences with that. We have experiences with that. You know. Yeah, not to that degree, but it's like, you know, everybody has certain things where they don't agree with the how their family lives or what they do, and then they get estranged in different ways, and you feel like you're only able to talk to certain family members about certain things,
Yeah, that's a fact.
and that's another part of the culture that is incentivized, and we're incentivized to be apolitical. Don't talk about politics at Thanksgiving. Don't talk about don't talk about your pay at work. Don't mention these things that are very crucial to life.
Yeah.
Don't mention them with the people that you probably should be mentioning them to, because it's a divide and conquer strategy. If you talked about your pay at work, you're more likely to unionize.
Yeah.
The company doesn't want you to unionize. They don't want the people to advocate for better conditions at work or better pay, because they don't want to have to pay for it. They want to charge. They want to pay you as little as possible. They want to own you, ideally, but because they can't, they want to charge you as little as possible. In the family, huh?
You said
Yeah, pay you.
charges. Yeah.
Yeah, pay you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and charge you as much as possible. And in the family, in Thanksgiving, you know, we really should be talking about, you know, political things. It doesn't have to. It's very hard nowadays because politics has become sports. Has become, you're either red team or blue team, and don't even think about the policies. Just I just like my guy better than your guy,
Like a
and
point.
that's just stupid. But if we talked about politics on the policy on the policy level in depth, what we actually want our government to provide for us, or what we don't want it to do, what we want our communities to look like, that is politics.
Well, it's almost metaphorical now that you mention it, because that is kind of what the political system seems to be. I mean, just the voting thing, for example,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you have these two characters, they get built up in the media, they basically talk each other down, like, vote for that one because they said this, don't vote for that one because they did this and that, and it's just a facade. I mean, of course, they might mention a couple policies like, "Oh, well, when I get into office, I'm going to do this. This is why you should vote for me. Don't vote for them because they're going to do this, and it's going to negatively affect you in this way." Meanwhile, both of them are just kind of a face for the system that's going to do what it wants to do anyway, and essentially, they kept you distracted from that truth by doing the puppet show. I think you're the one that
Mm-hmm.
sent me some interview with some guy, some political guy, and he essentially talked about like a puppet show. And the thing is, it's always kind of been that here. So like, why is that the system? I don't know. I think it makes sense that it has to do with it's all about power, right? And
Mm-hmm.
some of it, I don't know. It makes me think of the Plato's cave thing, because I mean that's story supposedly hundreds, maybe some thousand years old, and if that's what humans do, if at some point they always form power and then uh, come up with some kind of narrative, or like try to twist reality for the other people in a way that they don't notice that they're being controlled, it's evil. That's I would think that's evil. And I mean that's why I feel like, maybe part of the process of a societal makeover is to do the personal makeover first. I mean, maybe there's people like you that were just kind of born, or like very young learned about individualism and realized like, oh, that's not the path. I want to, do like make the world a better place basically. Like you just maybe are born with some more empathy or something. But and then I think maybe there's people like me that it's just a longer process. Like and it's also a selfish process because I could say I feel like from a very early age, I feel like I understood a lot of this stuff. I just didn't care. I was like, eh. And I still to some extent don't because it's like I just have my position where I'm comfortable. I don't really uh integrate. I don't really talk to a lot of people that are struggling on a day-to-day basis. And if I do, it's an individual thing. It's like, oh, that sucks. I'm sorry. I hope it gets better. But, you know, that's the world we live in. It's like I
Yeah,
don't know.
I mean,
There's
no,
there's
I
not a lot of reward in helping others.
Well, there definitely is, but um, it's just this is a big problem. It definitely is a big beast, like you said. It's definitely a big beast, and I wouldn't say that I have more empathy than you or anybody else. It's just stuff that I like. I is one of my interests. I like history and I like politics and stuff like that, and just like I like movies and music. I mean, I just like diving deep on things and stuff like that. But I I it's been done before. That's what I want to say too in this podcast. Is like it's not like these giant systems haven't been vanquished before. They've been vanquished, and
What's been
huh?
vanquished?
these giant systems of oppression, let's say, like monarchy, it's not gone, that's for sure. But in certain uh, countries, it's been vanquished. In this country, it's been vanquished. They're trying to bring it back because the people always at the top, the monarchs always at the top, are always fighting for themselves. Always, they're always going to advocate for themselves. They're always going to try to, retain their power, retain their and build it up. But we on the other side have to say no. I mean, we have the right to exist too. You can't take away our lands and say it's yours. You can't take away our resources or taint our resources and get away with it.
Yeah.
We're the ones that make you rich.
Well, I think the problem is that a lot of these people that are in charge or in power, they're already where they need to be, and they're
Not yet.
working. I mean, well,
I don't
okay,
know
but what I just said was
when
very relative. So you might be thinking about it in a different way than I am. When I said they're where they need to be, it means resource-wise, they literally have all of them that they'll ever need. And if
mm-hmm.
anything goes wrong, if anything's against their safety, if anything's against their liking, they can just go somewhere else. And if they don't like it there, they'll just go somewhere else. If they don't like it there, they'll go somewhere else. And literally, they could leave the planet if they needed to, because they just have it. They have what they need. And it's no wonder that some of these people are creating, some space resources because they know something. They know something's happening here. Some
Mm-hmm.
of it's obvious. I think some of it's not so obvious. What I'm wondering is where do you think humanity is going to be? Where do you think societies are going to be in 50 years?
You want to just stick with the U.S. or you want to say everything?
Maybe everything.
Collapse. I mean, I mean the science is saying it. The science is
They're
You think it's
saying
saying
that
that.
that.
imminent?
Yeah, the science is saying that within 100 years, it's over.
I'm
It's
saying
over.
50 though.
Okay, and 50 is half of the process of over is gonna happen. Half of the process is gonna be done. So,
Kind of crazy. I mean, think about it. In 50 years. Well, what's crazy about it is what if we each lived another 100? That means basically as we're dying, we're gonna see the end of days. That's pretty upsetting.
Well, this is one of my favorite topics of conversation, so I'm gonna have to start another meeting. This is about to run out.
All right.
I think that what I said, the collapse is inevitable at this point in terms of environmentally and climate, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that humans themselves are gonna necessarily become extinct. I think that we're smart enough that some of us, and it might be some of the worst of us, hopefully it's not, but some of us are gonna figure out how to live either on Mars, underground, in one of the safe zones of the Earth, something
Mm-hmm.
like that, and we'll be able to keep on the you know the human race. But it's not gonna be fun. 'Cause there's gonna be a whole bunch of animals that are gone and plants that are gone, and the air is not gonna be great to breathe and all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
But the ecosystem at the same time is like a beautifully self-regulating machine. So it could be that once a collapse happens and then all our systems go offline, it starts regenerating itself, at a good pace, like at a quick pace. And I'm not saying everything corrects itself over like 10, 50 years. It's gonna take a while. But
That systems go offline. I mean, it sounds
like
like you're
fossil fuel
insinuating.
drilling stops, drilling stops, emissions stop, stuff like that.
Well, it sounds like you think there's just not gonna be any more people then.
Well, I said that I think that there will be, or that there might be
Yeah, but there
a
might
few.
be.
I don't think
I
we're
don't think
gonna
there's no
sustain this
few.
7 billion.
No, of course not. I think it's gonna be. I wonder if there's gonna be a decline in population. Wouldn't that be interesting? Because like, since, I think, I don't know. I know in like the last 100 years, the population has like doubled minimum. Like the Earth's population has doubled, which is ridiculous. Too many people. But I think it might be interesting to see it half. Like if it just cut itself in half in the next 50 years, might be good. More resources to spread around, but also maybe not. Because think about it, like all these systems and blah blah blah. Like
Well,
at
it's
the end of
definitely
the
not gonna
day,
be good because that's gonna take a lot of people dying. But
of
but
course, and I
in
mean,
terms of
unfortunately,
sustainability, I know what you mean.
that's just reality. But I'm thinking like maybe there's so many people that are hoarding wealth and whatnot because they know as systems go down, they're gonna need something. They're gonna need something that'll allow them to continue to live the way they want to live. And it's not necessarily the life of a billionaire because what's money when money doesn't mean anything? But if you can use your money to get you stuff right now that's gonna last you through the end of days, then you're good. I mean, you buy your properties, you build your bunkers, you buy your cars, and you get your gas and whatnot, and then you're good. I mean, maybe that's something we should work on, and we've been talking about it. We might need to start working on that.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to work on it, but but I also am of the belief that that's a that's like a mission that's not gonna work out for them because yeah, as an example, I keep coming back to Zuckerberg. He's in Hawaii. He's building a huge underground compound, right?
Yeah, I know about it.
Great. Oh, great. You're gonna have this big neighborhood-sized thing underground.
Uh-huh.
Hawaii's on a volcano. Hawaii's a volcano.
Yeah.
That's not gonna last. And
The
even if
thing
it
is,
does last, you're gonna go crazy under there. You're gonna end up
it's
killing your own
already there.
family. Your family's gonna kill you. People need community to survive, even the rich. they commune with themselves. They commune with all the other hundreds of rich people.
What
But
if he
you
just
need
brings
people.
some hundreds of people down there with him?
In a few generations, it's gonna turn into this ancestral pool of people starting to eat each other. It's
You're
not gonna be
thinking
fun.
way too long term.
Why
Who's
why
thinking
not
that far?
think long term?
Because you just said yourself, in 100 years, it's gonna be kaputs. It's all gonna be
Yeah, but that
done.
only takes 100 years. That's
Right.
3 generations, and then boom, you got a granddaughter that's killing their grandfather because of, why'd you bring us down here, Gramps.
If people have kids, which yeah, to be fair, that guy has kids, so that's a good point. That's a good point. But I think life is both incredibly short and incredibly long at the same time. And it's really just about how you look at it, because the facts are that it's passing by. Like it's quite literally passing by. I mean, you remember being younger and smaller. Well, now you're older and bigger. That's really straightforward. But it's happening at this rate where it's like, I don't know. I don't know. It's not like it's happening any faster for anybody else. Maybe it is. I feel like I've heard something like that. Like science has proven that certain individuals experience time differently, whatever that means. But the other thing is that, like, no matter what you do with your life, other people's lives are still going on, societies are still changing and whatnot, and the reality of your life will change in some way or another. Whether or not you want it to, or whether or not you're the one that makes it do so, it's gonna change. I'm always gonna come back to the individualism thing because it's like I truly feel like I can make of my reality what I want it to be. But I mean, not everyone has that. And that being said, there could come a day where that's taken away from me. I mean, whether it's in whatever form, it could be like, no, now you just do what we say. Whoever says that. I mean, I don't know who would say that. My thing is like, if you're a person that has some resources and like maybe you're armed or something like that, like ideally you shouldn't have to uh succumb or give in to like what other people want from you.
Hmm.
But who knows? There might come a day where there's some armed force that's like, you're gonna do what we say or we're gonna kill you. And I'm probably gonna die that day because I'm not doing that. But we'll see. I mean, the idea is to not get to that point. The idea is to hope for the best, but also maybe prepare for a day like that and just do what you can. Do
Well,
what you can. I mean, that would be
that's
great.
one of the benefits of societies. Societies are supposed to protect you from warlords and plunderers and stuff like that.
But if the
that's one of
society
the whole
becomes that
ideas.
itself, what do you do?
Then you gotta destroy it and build a new.
That's where we're heading, I'm thinking. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, I'm not gonna say it's too early to tell because I feel like the signs are there. But now it's just okay, well,
How's it gonna play out?
yeah, I don't think we know what to do. I'm sure there's plenty of people that think they know what to do, but the problem lies in that the kinds of moves that need to be made to take care of the kind of problems that are out there are just they're too grave. I mean, it involves, going to jail or whatever, or like being silenced or hushed or being erased from life. That
Yeah,
seems to be the
yeah.
case. Maybe there's some other things that can happen that'll fix things, but like what I've maintained this whole conversation is that words ain't gonna fix things. It's just not.
No, yeah, words are not gonna fix things, but I mean, you gotta talk things out to figure out plans. I mean,
Sure, that's fair.
Yeah.
My thing is, don't you think someone out there that it's a big country, like relatively speaking,
mm-hmm.
size wise, but also population wise. Like, of course, there's bigger ones, but And okay, maybe the more I think about it, it's like there's not that many competent people in this country. There is and there isn't. There's people that are competent enough to like be able to stay alive and like maybe buy some property or whatever. But uh, do you think there's enough competent people to actually make some kind of changes? And if so,
Mm,
how many people do you think that are out there that are actually planning on making some big changes? You know, I'd say it's
the
pretty
cha-
small.
the ch-
Yeah, right now. But I mean, when times get desperate, that's when people, get up, get the pitchforks out. That's how it's always been. You gotta you gotta have a very desperate population. That's one of the effects of this country being as rich as it
right?
Right.
is that there's a lot of people that are comfortable and even comfortable in the despair or the people can be comfortable not having much because there's so many other things that are like numbing agents.
You
Of
know,
course.
There's plenty of drugs and distractions and stuff like that they want you hooked on so that you're not, you know, getting the pitchforks out. But we're talking too much about revolution here. I'm not like we're not revolutionary leaders or participants, you know. But I think if you want to talk more on the individual, let's just talk a little bit on the individual. There's a reason why, like these things that I think about do affect the way that I live, right? Like I don't think that I'm gonna have kids. At this point, me thinking of it right now, I don't think I'm gonna have kids because I don't want to put kids into this world where, and also on a selfish level too. I mean, it's a big responsibility, and it's also, you know, financially is a big responsibility and all that. But knowing what's gonna happen is like I'll do my part. I'm not gonna have no kids for what? I might have the urge, but so what? I mean, I'm a conscious being. I can choose not to. That's a that's that's one thing, and then the minimalism thing. I mean, I can not consume as much in order to focus more on the things that matter. Things that matter more, like family and saving for a piece of land or education, stuff like that. Um, and not having kids also gives me a lot more time, than the average person. I can I can educate myself, build my relationships the way that I want to build my relationships.
Yeah.
Like community is very important. You know, it's very very important. And so if we're talking on the individual level, that always starts with the person next to you. It starts with your brother. It starts with your mom and dad if you have them, and whatever family member that's next to you. You gotta solidify that relationship, get on the same page, and then you can start building out. And then eventually, if you're good at that, and it's not on, just one person, it's on everybody. But if you guys get good at that, then all of a sudden you're going to wake up 10 years later and you have this big community and you guys have set up systems for yourself to sustain yourself, you know? And that's a blueprint for success that can be copied anywhere and everywhere. It's been done before. It's not like reinventing anything,
Yeah.
you know? It's just stealing ideas from people that did it better.
That's what most successful people do, and a lot of them will even advise that. Like, just take someone else's idea and try to make it better or even just do what they did and get some similar results.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, human ingenuity can only go so far. And like, I mean, how much of what we do now and have done is stuff that came from what other people did? I mean, of
Everything.
course, there was like the original person that did something for the first time, but once they got success from it, they passed on the knowledge. I mean, that's quite literally what makes us human, like the ability to process and pass on knowledge. That being said, I feel like we do ourselves disservice when we know something and we don't use it. And I mean, that's been
Yeah.
my experience for a long time, and I don't like living that way. I mean, it feels just unsettling to be, I can do what I want, or I think I know what I want, and I think I know how to do it, but I'm not going to because I'm scared. It's really dumb, not a fan of that.
Yeah.
I mean, those are emotions for you, Those are, yeah, we all have them. They all restrict us or benefit us in different ways. I mean,
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, for me, part of my personal journey is like just, I don't know, trying to understand them more and uh I don't want to say master them, but like get a grip on them and to be able to use them for better things. And it's a heavy thing, I guess, because you could really just think about like, well, what do you call it? I don't know what I was gonna say with that.
I mean, look, that makes me think of stuff that you said before. It's like, okay, I get it. Focusing on the individual and focusing on bettering yourself and all this. Great, beautiful. Let's all do it, of course. But also, like, you look at the examples of others, right? If you look at the examples of others, you'll see that you know, nobody is ever happy just being doing their thing by themselves. They get happiness from others, and that's one of the keys right there. I think that that's one of the keys. Is like thinking that you just gotta look out for yourself is gonna drive you crazy. It's gonna lead to demise. I think it's gonna lead to demise.
What, to be alone?
To be alone or to only focus on your own and not, you know, others.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that's part of a large, well, that might be part of a personal awakening and maybe a societal awakening, but to recognize that I'm not going to say that there is no self, because that's just a little bit too abstract, but just recognizing that like we are part of a larger consciousness, like consciousness is some medium through which we live and experience things, but it's a shared thing. And I guess there's
Mm-hmm.
components of it or there's aspects of it that we can take advantage of to give each other a better experience. And it's that simple. I mean, you can make it as abstract as you want, but like that's why when people talk about virtues, maybe success and happiness and stuff like that, like you'll hear a lot that service is kind of like the most powerful thing that you can do for yourself, even. Like to serve others is powerful for yourself because it gives you some kind of reward. I haven't felt it that much. I just haven't, but maybe I'm just not doing it enough. So that would be interesting. I mean, part of it could be what you were talking about earlier, just starting a community and teaching people how to uh, be reliant on themselves and whatnot. I personally find it pretty hard to what's the word I'm looking for? I just find it hard to relate to people these days, like to connect with people, because I mean, you meet people and it's like one, they're selfish. It's like they don't even want to give you the time of day. They don't want to know your name. They don't want to shake your hand. They don't want to look at you, whatever. Or if they do that stuff, they're dumb. And like their personality is something that's not interesting to me or captivating to me. And then every once in a while, you find somebody that is a good person, to you at least, and is captivating enough to want to be around more. And that becomes a friend, and that friend could change your life. And it's just a great thing. I try to be open to the possibilities. I actually enjoy talking to strangers. Most of the time, the people that I can actually connect with as strangers are older than me. Because, like, a lot of people in my age bracket just, they definitely don't have the time of day or the attention span to even, or I don't know. I don't even know what I want to call it. Like, the confidence to even maintain a conversation. I mean, there's like a social angst about people in this age bracket. I don't know. It's like if there's not a phone in front of them, they can't communicate with you. So it
Mm-hmm.
is what it is. It is what it is. I mean,
No, yeah, I've encountered that too, for sure. I know what you're talking about, for sure. I mean, like, sometimes I push through it. Like, sometimes I push through it. I mean, we know certain people that I'm gonna mention right here, right now, but, that is the reality. Younger people are on the phone, or they have social things that they can't socialize. I mean, in the ways that maybe that we're better at, or I mean, for me, it's a learned thing. Everybody has to learn how to socialize, but it's like I'll just try to push through it. Like like it might be frustrating. I'm gonna bleep it out just to give an example, right? Is a good example because he's like both sides of the coin. He can be very aloof on his phone, distracted, but then when he wants to he'll have a hour-long conversation with you, be asking questions, attentive, saying things that he notices in people, things that he's thinking about, life moves, about what's healthy, what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing. He has both sides, and everybody has both sides, I think. And it's just about like, how do you tap into that? You gotta find a way to speak to people, and also you kind of have to assess whether you want to do it with that person or not. Like, some people are not worth, I mean, everybody's worth, but are they worth it to you? Like, are
They
yeah, they worth their
are
time.
they family to you? Do you Yeah, exactly. You can't be friends with everybody, you can't be family with everybody.
Yeah. There's a lot of realizations that you can make as a person, but I think the time one is massive. Like, just thinking about how it's kind of the most important resource and it is limited. Like from the moment you're born, you know that that's the one thing that is for certain in your lifetime is that you're gonna die. To be fair, it's not certain. There could be you might not. You might just live forever. I don't think it's likely. Like it's never been recorded in human history, but who knows? Um, but it's most likely, and for that you do have to enjoy it, and you hear it a trillion times, and to the point where it's like a cliche, and it's almost like you just don't resonate with it. But I personally resonate with it, and I only find it to be more powerful every day. Like this death thing, like it's right there, right there. I mean, I'm not saying it's right there for me or you, like it's coming, but it's been close enough to where you see it in people you love and whatnot, and it's just like, man, could be me. Could be me today, could be me tomorrow. And I'm optimistic to think that when that does happen, it's gonna be a good thing. Not for anybody that's here, like anybody that witnesses it is gonna be really upset, but for me, for my soul or whatever the me is that's using this vehicle. Because I think there's something in there. I think there's a soul or a spirit, and I think it just kind of uses the physical body as a medium to interface with other souls, which are doing the
Mm-hmm.
same thing, like just using these kind of mediums to for something. That that thing is unknown. And I was listening to something about this earlier. It's called it was a podcast and it was about something called the Kabbalah. Kabbalah, you could call it in English. But it's like an ancient Jewish tradition. And it was essentially like a wisdom, like a something that was created thousands of years ago, and it was like uh almost like a life plan, like telling you what to do and not to do, how to trust your inner voices and whatever. I don't know. Some kind of spiritual guide, but it was more practical than it was spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
And it talked about that kind of stuff, like how your body's a vessel and your soul's gonna live on. And I think it talked about finding purpose and finding meaning of life. And like, I wish I could speak more eloquently about it. I mean, it was all in Spanish and like, I was just trying to understand it. I didn't really record much of it in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Pretty cool stuff though. I mean, I can resonate with it and it's something you hear a lot. It's something you hear a lot and you hear it from people that are like quote unquote successful or even happy. And they talk about finding purpose slash meaning and essentially making that their whole entire life goal, like to chase that thing. Once you figure out what that thing is that actually gives you pleasure, and it's usually revolving around service, if you can just do that, you'll never work again. I mean, it's that old cliche quote about never working. It makes sense though. It makes sense. I mean, think about it like, what's your favorite thing to do? I'm not, it's a rhetorical question, but if you grab that thing and now you make that every day, and you're also able to spread that joy that you get from that thing, life is probably going to be pretty good, you know? So I want
Mm-hmm.
to do a little bit of that, whatever that. My thing is, I haven't found that. I mean, even as an individual, even on my own, as someone that has a lot of free time, nah, can't. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I have things that make me feel good for a little bit, and then there have been some moments where I connect with something that's beyond words and stuff like that, but it's usually in meditation and like. I mean, if that means I need to go be a yoga, or not a yoga, but like a meditation sheet teacher, maybe, maybe, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It is a
Yeah.
process.
Maybe.
Meditation teacher.
Never know.
Maybe, maybe. I mean, before I would do that, I would like to take uh, I'd like to go on some retreats. I'd love to go on a silent retreat. I've heard great things about it. And I don't know. I like little challenging things for the mind and body.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine being silent for like a week straight, but also meditating for like hours every day. It would be torturous. There's no question about it. But I do think there's a breakthrough point in that. Like, there just comes a point where you're actually doing it correctly and everything disappears and hours turn into nothing essentially. I mean, it kind of feels like seconds by the time you open your eyes. And I like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. This guy said something in that same video, and it was essentially something to the effect of like society will have a great awakening once every individual or all people meditate on the meaning of life. Something to that effect. That's essentially what he said in Spanish. And I'll try to find it so I can send it to you, but it was really good. I mean, it made sense to me, like because I can resonate with it, because I've experienced meditation and how good it's made me feel and like the connection it's made me feel to a higher power, I guess. If everyone could do that, you would think the world should change like immediately. I mean, you would think anyone that has any kind of power or resources would like immediately get to work on like, oh wow, I want everybody to feel that way, you know? But it takes it takes stuff, it takes work. I mean, I would think that it takes like some realizations, confront some demons. That's been my experience, you know. What do you
Well,
think?
yeah.
It takes work. I mean, the reason why things are the way they are is because, like we said before, humans. One of the things that we're really good at is passing on the what we know, right, and building off what we know. Just recreating over the generations, and building stuff up, right? And our culture right now is an example of that. It's just a negative buildup. You know, it's a consumptive buildup, and it's only existed for a few hundred years, if that, right? You know, humans have been around for 2 million years approximately, and human civilization, big civilization, has only been around for 10,000 years. About
Arguably, yeah.
That's less than 1% of the time that we've been around. So that tells you something. That tells you that we've done things differently before, and we can do them again. We've lived in more communal ways, in more sustainable ways, in more
That's
sharing
not the
ways.
message I'm getting from that, though.
Huh?
That's not the message I'm getting from that at all. I mean, if we've been around, well, there's a lot of takeaways. Mine is that we've only been intelligent enough to be able to keep or to be able to form a society and maintain a society just for about that long, just for about some 10, 20, 30,000 years, whatever. Um, but And in fact, I don't think the ratio, the fact that it's been, 1%, less than 1% of the time that we've been around, that's how long that society has been here. And the fact that it's collapsing that quickly, it would tell me that we're just not meant to be in society. That being said, you know, based on what I just said before, like the fact that we're just now able to have this kind of society means that
I think
we just did it wrong this time. So that means there's going to be a big reset and just hope for a better shot next time. I mean,
I think many things. I think society might not be the right word for it. I think civilization is the word that I should have used,
uh-huh.
right? Because society has always existed for that 2 million years. Society is just two people or more, a group of people, sharing experiences and stuff like that. But civilization is not that long, and also, if we're putting things into perspective, like civilization is not just one thing. It's been done in different ways all across the globe, and some have been, more healthier than others. Some have definitely been more healthier than others. So, like, I do think that humans are better off in like small societies, small sustainable societies, but I don't think that we should necessarily like force that upon people. Um, because in the modern context, like that would mean like, like some, like there's some people, very evil people that agree with me on that. If you
Wait,
get what
which
I'm
part?
saying. There's evil people that believe the same exact thing that I just said.
Which
That
part though?
that oh, there's society should just be a few, small. Society should just be small and self-sustaining. That's the only way we're gonna self-sustain and all this.
Yeah.
But they have some methods to get there that are way different than what I'm thinking about. But
Yeah, it doesn't include you. It's just them and their people. That's it.
yeah,
But is that not what everyone's rooting for? I mean, if all of us want us and our close circle of people to do well, that is the selfish view. Because, I mean, that small group of people is a small group of people. If what I was talking about was the Great Awakening, where everyone collectively realizes, like, oh, wait, we're all the same. Even if we're different, we're all the same
yeah,
as far as like what we're made of, and even down to morals and thoughts and stuff. I mean, obviously you have like the bad eggs and whatnot, but
yeah,
even them, somewhere in there, they're the same. They just made some bad choices, and if everyone could realize that at the same time, we could turn this thing around immediately. You know?
yeah, yeah. But that's impossible. But I do think that like that's why I brought up the culture, because it's like that's the only way that it can happen. We have a culture which is an individual culture, but that's why we got to change the culture. We got to change the culture because the culture informs how people live, how people see the world, how they see themselves. And so if the culture is all about, you know, more socialist culture, which just means, you know, not the opposite of individualism, like, watching out for your fellow man, for your family, for, building systems in that way. Then over the generations, there's it just becomes intrinsic. That's what society is now. We watch out for each other. We maintain these systems of benefit, you know, of self-sustaining, and we do things that make us happy. We don't do things that are gonna cause mass depression.